fight and you return to the front line, but if you lose, you're done.
Peace be upon you guys. Today is a new video. We will talk about the topic of the Battle of Wadi Makhzen. Watch the video until the end. Wadi al-Makhzen is a battle that took place in the 16th century and took place on Moroccan lands, but those lands retained the blood of the Battle of the Three Kings. When the conflict with Morocco eliminated the Kingdom of Portugal and the bodies of Portuguese and European soldiers, who came in a military campaign to occupy the entire Moroccan coast, that coast that was coveted by the colonists throughout the ages, because of its distinctive geographical location. The Portuguese king was led by ambition, and his kingdom went to waste when he was killed on the battlefield, along with most of his soldiers. The struggle for power in Morocco. The Ottoman Empire included most of the Arab and Islamic countries under its rule at the beginning of the 16th century, after the Mamluks in the Levant and Egypt were defeated in their battles with the Ottoman Sultan Selim I, but the coasts of the rest of North Africa did not fall within the scope of Ottoman control quickly. Thus, some of the kings of Morocco, Tunisia and Algeria began to deal with this Islamic state, which became larger. Al-Mutalawakil inherited from his father the Sultanate of the Sasanian state, and completed what his father had begun in terms of getting closer to the Europeans, to protect it from the Ottoman Empire. A conflict erupted between Al-Mutalawakil and his uncles, Abd al-Malik and Ahmad, as Abd al-Malik saw that he was more entitled to rule than his nephew. The brothers fled to Algeria, and from there they received Ottoman support of 5,000 soldiers. So they returned at the head of that army to Morocco, to fight al-Mutalawakil. Abd al-Malik and his brother defeated their nephew, al-Mutalawakil, but he fled the battle to Marrakesh, and began his alliance with the enemy to fight his uncle. He sent to the King of Portugal, Sebastian, seeking his victory over his uncle. But Sebastian had a goal other than to preserve his king. He had received a large empire with its colonies in the Americas, and Sebastian wanted to occupy the entire Moroccan coast, to have a great influence in the Mediterranean. Thus, Sebastian asked al-Mutalawakil on God to give him all the cities of the Moroccan coast in exchange for their alliance, and that al-Mutalawakil had only the inner cities. Al-Mutalawakil agreed, and then Sebastian began to muster his armies to take them to Morocco. And some historical sources mention that the number of the Portuguese army has reached 150,000 fighters, and al-Mutalawakil on God has abandoned them to the city of Isla on the coast of Morocco to land there, and thus the Portuguese army base was the city of Isla. They reached it on July 12, 1578. Al-Mutalawakil's forces are estimated at only 500 horsemen, but the numbers of Sebastian's army also appear to be somewhat exaggerated. Whatever the case, Sebastian's army was a huge, powerful army. The Battle of Wadi al-Makhzen. The Portuguese army camped in the city of Isla, and Sultan Abd al-Malik and his brother Ahmed marched at the head of the army, with Ottoman support from the governor of Algeria. Abd al-Malik camped with his army in a suitable area, and sent a message to Sebastian, saying that he had passed 16 stages to reach him. The stage is a distance of more than 40 kilometers, but he, Sebastian, did not even cross a single stage. Here, Sebastian provoked and decided to move to him. Abd al-Malik was experienced, for this letter intended to cut Sebastian from the supply areas for his army on the coast. Thus, Sebastian fell into the trap, and moved to meet Abd al-Malik's army. When the Portuguese army reached the Great Palace area near the Valley of the Stores, Sultan Abd al-Malik's health had deteriorated, and even his servants were carrying him on a stretcher, because he could no longer ride the horse. To complete the skill of Abd al-Malik, first Sultan Abd al-Malik died on the morning of the battle, and during the battle Sebastian died, as well as the trust in God, when he tried to escape and drowned in the river. Thus, the battle was called the Battle of Wadi al-Makhzen, or the Battle of the Three Kings. The battle witnessed the death of three kings. Portugal was disintegrated after Sebastian's death. His uncle, King Philip, King of Spain, was ready to pounce on that vast kingdom. Sebastian asked him for help in his attempt to occupy Morocco, but he did not give him much help. Fate was hiding another kingdom for him to rule. As for al-Mutalawakil, he was later known as the King Not Skinned, as it is said that after his death, he flayed his skin and stuffed it with straw to serve as an example to those who are considered. His uncle, Ahmed, took over the king in place of Abd al-Malik, who died on the day of the battle. Thank you for watching the video to the end, and thank you, for Professor Manal, with you Hussein, to meet you.